Hello everyone, Mike Rempel from Excel Bytes with today's Excel Bytes blog post. Today we're going to talk about generating random numbers. Now recently Microsoft came out with a new function called RANDARRAY as part of their new array functions from Office 365. So we're going to look at how to generate random numbers prior to that using RAND and RANDBETWEEN, and now how you can do them with the new function called RANDARRAY. So let's see how we can do this in Excel. So again, we're going to talk about generating random numbers, and I've set up a little grid here showing 12 months and 10 rows. So we're going to generate random numbers because often I'm working on projects and such, and I just need to generate some random numbers to test my theories and formulas and logic. So we're going to go through 6 different scenarios, and I'm going to show you how to do that with RANDBETWEEN and RAND, and then now with the new function called RANDARRAY, again available in Office 365, we'll see how we can accomplish the same thing. I've also set up a little min and max formulas here so you can see what the results are to confirm that they actually do fall between the ranges that we've set up. So the first item we're going to do is generate random numbers, integers between 10 and 200. So what you need to do is highlight the range that you want those numbers to appear, and using RANDBETWEEN you would define what your bottom number is and what your top number is, close your parentheses, but instead of hitting enter you would hit control enter. And now, as you can see with our min-max, we have our 120 numbers that range between a minimum of 12 and a maximum of 197, so they fall within our range. So now let's do the same thing with the new function RANDARRAY. I don't have to highlight the range, I just have to select the first cell I want to go in, and instead you define your range within the function. So I'm going to say equals RANDARRAY. My number of rows is 10, my number of columns is 12, my minimum is 10, my maximum is 200, and I now have to decide, do I want decimals or integers? I can either select them, I can type false or true, or I can use the numeric equivalent of 0 or 1. Here I want integers, so I'm going to type a 1, close my parentheses, and I just have to hit enter. I don't have to hit control enter, and now it populates the range. Now if you've noticed, RAND, RANDBETWEEN, and RANDARRAY are all volatile functions. Volatile functions mean that every time you perform an operation, you hit enter, or do something like that with your workbook, they automatically update. So notice every time I hit my F9 key, for example, the values modify, or it recalculates or regenerates new random numbers. So if you're generating random numbers and you want to maintain those, you then have to convert your numbers to their values. Now, if I wanted to change that from, instead of 10 to 200, 10 to 500, again, with RANDBETWEEN, I would highlight the range, go ahead into my first formula up there in the active cell, change that to 500, again, hit control enter, and now you can see my minimum is 12, my maximum is 500. With RANDARRAY, all I need to do is select on that first cell, change the 2 to a 5, hit enter, and again it's changed them all. Now again, with the new array functions in Excel, notice that all the different cells in my range are grayed out. The only active, or the only cell that I can make any changes to, is the very first cell, and that's where I would make those modifications, or if I wanted to delete the whole range. If I try to delete anything down here, again, it'll update, but it won't let me change anything. The only way I can delete all of them or change them is using the very first cell. I can hit delete and they all will be deleted. I'm also going to delete these up in the top section. Now, what if we want decimals? So our third operation that we're going to perform is creating decimals between 0 and 1. Again, I'll highlight the range, type equals RAND, tab, close my parentheses, hit control enter, and now I've generated decimals between 0 and 1. Notice my minimum and maximums fall between that 0 and 1 range. With the new function RANDARRAY, I would type equals RANDARRAY, again, 10 rows, 12 columns. My minimum is 0, my maximum is 1, and I want decimals, so I will type a 0, close my parentheses, hit enter, and I've generated again those values between 0 and 1. Next, I want decimals between a half and 1. Well, to do that, it's a little bit trickier using the old method of the RAND function. What I would do is highlight my range again, type equals RAND, close my parentheses, and then I would multiply that times 1 minus 0.5, close that parentheses, and then plus 0.5. Control Enter, and now I've created a series or a range between 0.5 and 1. With RANDARRAY, much simpler, equals RANDARRAY. Again, I still have to define my rows, my columns. What's my low? 0.5. What's my high? 1. And in this case, I want decimals, so a 0. Close my parentheses, hit enter, and again, I have my decimals between 0.5 and 1. Okay, two more. First, we're going to look at integers with decimals between 0 and 50. With the RAND function, I will type equals RAND, tab, close my parentheses, and just multiply them times 50, control enter, and now I have integers with decimals between 0 and 50. With RANDARRAY, equals RANDARRAY, 10 rows, 12 columns, my low is 0, my high is 50, and I want it with decimals, so 0, hit enter, and again I have integers with decimals between 0 and 50. The last one we're going to do is integers with decimals between 5 and 10. So with the RAND function, I'll type equals RAND, tab, close my parentheses, multiply that times 10 minus 5 plus 5, control enter, and now I have integers with decimals between 5 and 10. RANDARRAY equals RANDARRAY, 10 rows, 12 columns, my minimum is 5, my maximum is 10, and again I want decimals, so 0, close parentheses, hit enter, and I have integers with decimals between 5 and 10. So that's how you can perform all these various operations and create random numbers, either using the RAND and RANDBETWEEN functions or the new RANDARRAY function available in Office 365, and that's how you can do this in Excel. So thanks for watching this tutorial. If you found it beneficial, please share it, like it, or give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my blog at my website, excel-bytes.com, or any of the social networks you see below. Have a great day and happy excelling.